Sarah Hall is with us today, and she had served as president of the Student Philanthropy Council at Arkansas State. And she'll tell us a little bit about what that was all about. We're going to let her be the presenter so she could share her screen and tell you what was going on and the need that they saw and how they filled it. And I'm telling you, folks, these are future Rotarians or Rotaractors. So Sarah, welcome to the Rotary Club of Jonesboro. We're glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for asking me. So thank you again for having me today. I've never presented on Zoom or GoToMeeting before, so this will be a first. But like Mr. Riga said, I'm here to talk about Student Philanthropy Council today, which is something I'm still a part of, but I'm a senior currently at A-State, so I'm phasing out a little bit. But just a little bit about me. So I'm a Jonesboro native. I graduated from JHS. Like Mr. Riga mentioned, Marie is my aunt, and Russell was my uncle. And I'm a senior at Arkansas State. I'm studying biology and psychology. And I'm the exiting president of Student Philanthropy Council, and I was the previous director for the Student Emergency Fund. So Student Philanthropy Council is a student organization, just kind of like Student Government Association, Student Activities Board, if that sounds familiar to y'all. We are one of the top 3 organizations on campus, whereas Student Activities Board is focused on activities on campus, events, and things like that. We are focused on service. So I know that hits close to home with all of you, of course. So SPC was established in 2016 by our advisor, Jessica Blackburn, and the purpose of it is to educate students about the impact and the importance of philanthropic giving by facilitating student giving campaigns. So our purpose is to kind of instill philanthropy in a sense of what it is in students so that they can give back when they're older, when they're adults in their professional career, and that they will be more willing to participate in service organizations like Rotary Club and, you know, devote their time in service. So we do that through different events and fundraisers, but we are kind of a connection also from the Alumni Association and the student body. So how we're set up is there's an executive committee of 9 students over different parts of SPC. So we have different facets like most organizations. So we have the Student Emergency Fund Director, a Back the Pack Director, and there's President. But we have other positions as well. So all general body members have to maintain a GPA of 2.75. They're chosen, they're interviewed, and then every member has to obtain 15 hours of service per semester in addition to events that we require, which are mandatory. And currently we have 40 active members. We've had as many as 54 or 60, but since a lot of students have graduated or graduated in December, we're kind of in that transition period, and our big recruitment season is the fall. But this is us right here. That was our picture from our fall retreat. So what we do with our members as well as on campus is we develop our members personally and professionally. So we meet twice every month as a general body council, and we will be training for something that we're working on, or if we have a meeting that we don't need training for, we'll bring in a professional from the community to give a professional development session. So we had one on the importance of face-to-face interaction, shaking hands, making eye contact, making conversation, which I know is important these days. We plan on having interview panels, things like that. So we want to make sure that while our students are giving a lot to the campus, they're also getting something in return that they can benefit from in their professional career. And we also help organizations raise funds through the Back the Pack platform. A lot of you have probably interacted with this and you didn't even know it. So all of the student organizations on campus, A-State Band, A-State Rugby, anytime that there's a fundraiser for students on the A-State campus, we run the interface. So it's kind of like the GoFundMe of Arkansas State University, and we are over that. And you can see on the right here that this is A-State Art and Design, and these students raised money this past semester before COVID and everything to take an art pilgrimage to Crystal Bridges. So through generous donations and promoting it on social media, they were able to raise money, and they were using our interface, and we kind of helped them build that fundraising campaign. And we also direct the class gift, which we started a couple years ago, and this is where graduating seniors will designate a gift to the university. It's the amount of the year. So this year you donate $20.20, and that money will go to a class gift for each year. Let me see, I received a message. There we go. So that's part of what we do as the class gift. This year, what we did is we tried to establish a butterfly garden or a butterfly trail on campus. So this year, if students contribute $20.20, they in return get a state alumni pint glass, but that money, all of that money goes towards establishing a butterfly trail to commemorate students that we've lost over the years. We've had a lot of accidents on campus and students that we've lost, and so we wanted to create something meaningful for the class of 2020 that we can come back to campus and see, and so we're trying to establish that butterfly trail. One of the major things that we do is help instill spirit among our students through our traditions, which are just our events, and we have a lot of them. We have a lot of manpower to run it with our students, but we do a lot of different events throughout the year, and I'll go into some of those in a second. And then lastly, which is what I'm going to focus on today, is we provide financial assistance to students through the Student Emergency Fund. So here's one of our events that we hold each year. Our first inaugural Emerging Young Alumni Award Banquet was this past fall, and so this is the picture that we had from that event. And I actually want to take a moment to point this out to you all, because we are actually accepting nominations for the Emerging Young Alumni Award. So this is some information on it here, and hopefully I'll be able to share this presentation with you all so you can come back and reference it. But the Emerging Young Alumni are individuals who are 40 years of age or younger by the award year, and they're a current member of the Alumni Association. They just represent a leader through their professional and community achievements, attain increasingly responsible positions within their organization. So there's all these different factors, but basically this person is someone that has stayed connected to the university, gives themselves professionally and in service, and is 40 years of age or younger. So this is a newer thing that we have for the Emerging Young Alumni. So if you know someone that you would like to nominate, this is the link. And the awards banquet is usually in, I think, October or November at Cooper Alumni Center. So hopefully we'll still be able to have it in person, but if not, we will probably do it digitally. But this is something I wanted to point out to you all because we opened nominations for this just recently. This was our Donors and Scholars event, which some of you also may be familiar with. This is when we match up privately funded scholarship recipients with their donor. So I know that Rotary has given scholarships in the past to students at Arkansas State University. So this would be y'all getting to connect with the student that you're impacting. And so this was our biggest one in the fall. We had over 500 attendees. It was a huge success, and it's one of my favorite events because the students get to see who's helping fund their education. And then, of course, right here to the left, we have them writing thank you notes, and then they also get pictures with their donor. Give-A-Howl is another event we have, which is kind of similar in the respect that it's us thanking scholarship donors and donors to the university. So in the student union, each fall. We have hot dogs or something fun like that, t-shirts, and in return, students will get a t-shirt or a hot dog if they write a thank you note to a donor. And then we also participate in Create It State. So my advisor is one of the primary people that organizes the whole event, and then us students of Student Philanthropy Council will host the presentations, guide judges, and then talk to judges, and just kind of we're the manpower working the event, and it's something that we really enjoy. This was the class gift I was talking about earlier to establish the butterfly trail. Last year it was to establish some greenery and some flowers and butterfly bushes over near the Welcome Center and a bench. And then we also do the Gradstock, the final party, which is when students who are graduating go to the Cooper Alumni Center, and they will get measured for their cap and gown, and they get their membership to the Alumni Association. And so we usually have games and fun stuff like that for them to do. And so these last two events that I'm talking about connect directly to the Student Emergency Fund. So this is the Philanthropy Cup competition, which is something that we have each year for the student organizations as a way for students to raise money for the Student Emergency Fund. And I'll get more into that in a second, but these are our winners from this year. This is the fraternity Kappa Sigma, and they raised about over $2,000 to $3,000 alone for the Student Emergency Fund. So, and they participated in almost all of our events. So they won the competition this year and get that beautiful trophy for the year. And there's our Chancellor, Dr. Danfus, posing with the trophy. We Love A-State Week is another series of events that we hold during Valentine's Week. And this is us just showing our love and appreciation for the university with history and different events. This year we had a dog kissing booth that was a real hit, and this is actually my family's Great Pyrenees right here, Luna on the right, and I think she had a little too much fun. But we had Maple, the Chancellor's dog, and a couple other students' dogs at these kissing booths, and it was all a fundraiser for raising money for the Student Emergency Fund. So I'm going to check these messages real quick. Okay, just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything. So with the kissing booth, we were able to raise almost, I think, $1,000, $2,000. I would need to check on that day alone from $1 contributions, just from people supporting the Student Emergency Fund and loving dogs, because we all love animals. And we also had a trivia day. We had a tag day. We had a bunch of different events during the week just to kind of foster that appreciation and love for the university. So with all that being said, as a council, we do a lot of our students. It's crazy to see how much they grow over the years. But one of the things that we have established that is very unique is the Student Emergency Fund. And this is really close to home with me because we started this my freshman year, and I helped start it alongside my advisor and my colleagues, and I've seen it grow over the years. And I was the first inaugural director for the Student Emergency Fund, and then I was president this last year of the council. So this is something that's very important to me. But what it is it's a fund that awards financial awards to students who are undergoing temporary financial crises. It was established in 2016, and it was created by SPC to provide that temporary financial assistance to fellow Red Wolves in need. So we just saw that there were a lot of students who had to put their education on hold, or their grades were suffering, or they were going to have to drop out of school because of something unexpected, temporary, like their laptop being broken, unexpected medical diagnoses. And I'll get into some of the students that we've helped in a second, but as a college student, it's hard enough to work and to go to classes, and we've seen students, that are single moms, or they're going back, they're non-traditional students, and so we understand that a college education is a priority, and it's something to be treasured, and so we wanted to do everything in our ability to help these students continue their experience at A-State. And where does the money come from? It's 100% crowdfunded. So every dollar in the Student Emergency Fund that gets awarded to these students is crowdfunded. So we, as Student Philanthropy Council, raise all of the money, and every contribution goes directly to the fund. We don't keep anything. And this fund, who is it for? It's for any approved A-State student who applies. It's an online link, and I have it attached here. It must be a temporary financial crisis, and they must be willing to participate in a financial literacy course. Tuition and fees are not applicable, and up to $500 can be awarded to each student. Who have we helped? So we've helped close to 100 graduate and undergraduate students from diverse backgrounds and majors over the past few years. Up to this point, we have raised $50,000 plus for students, and we give away every penny. We've helped some of the students that stick out to me that we've helped. Our very first recipient of the Student Emergency Fund was a diligent student. All of her advisors and professors recommended her highly, and actually recommended her for the award to apply. She was a single mother who was living in terrible conditions with her child. She was working, she was Ubering or walking everywhere, but she was a very dedicated student. And so we were able to help her and give her some funds and continue her education. And she was the very first person that we helped, and she sticks out to me. This year, we had a student whose house burned down, and there's a part of the application where we actually have, attach any proof or attach or supporting evidence or something like that, which sometimes will be a receipt. But she actually posted the pictures of her house, and it was demolished. She lost everything, not to mention all of her school stuff. So we were able to allot her funds and help her in her journey back to A-State. We have helped a student before who had an unexpected medical diagnosis. A lot of times people think because college students are young, they don't have health problems as well. And so this was something that he was not expecting, and medical bills are expensive, so we were able to help him. A lot of times people have a broken laptop. We've had people with stolen textbooks that need help, have to travel for school, so if there's an internship or something like that and they have to pay for gas and it's unexpected, we've helped with that before. And then most recently, the SEF has been as important as ever with the COVID-19 crisis and the tornado that devastated our town. So SEF was established years ago before all of this, and I'm glad because we have had so many students who have been affected by the tornado, COVID-19, both, who have applied and gotten funds from the SEF. And so we've had students just recently who didn't have Wi-Fi, and during this online transition, that's not a viable option if you're attending school. We've had students who didn't have a laptop at all. We've had students who lost their home to the tornado or had severe damages from the tornado. And seeing some of those photos and their stories on these applications it's very humbling to read about these students, and it's given me a lot of perspective on how fortunate I am, but especially on, how every little thing helps. So during this crisis, more than anything, we have received dozens and dozens of applications and actually have exhausted our fund for the semester. So it's definitely a need, and we're here to fundraise for it. So how do we raise funds? So once again, it's all through donations. We hold various events, so that philanthropy competition is our way of getting students on campus involved with giving to the Student Emergency Fund. We make it a fun competition with student organizations, seeing who can raise the most money and participate in the most events. And this year, it was Kappa Sigma that won. We Love A-State Week. We have a bunch of different fundraisers for the Student Emergency Fund. The dog kissing booth was one of them, which we called Smooch-a-Pooch. We have a lot of different things throughout the year where we do raise money for it. But our primary way of raising funds for the Student Emergency Fund is through our Back the Pack t-shirt campaign. So as I was saying earlier, our Back the Pack platform is like the GoFundMe for the A-State campus. And so most of our Back the Packs are for other organizations or for other causes, and they run their own. But the Student Emergency Fund is our very own Back the Pack. So we raise money digitally. We take all kinds of donations, but we have a campaign where if you contribute $20 to the SEF, you will get an exclusive A-State tee. And this is the t-shirt for this year. This is something we've been working on for a while. Each year the design changes, and this one I like a lot because it has a bunch of different campus landmarks. So you can see the arch here, the library, and the Red Wolf. And the front just has the A-State logo on it. But that's one of my favorite designs. That's our design from this year. This is our design right here on the left from last year. And then the one on the right is our original design. So we've had 3 different designs. We'll have a new one this upcoming year. And so if you contribute $20, you get a t-shirt in return. And so we like to say shirts that change lives is our kind of campaign. So since we started, we have raised over $50,000 for the SEF and helped up to 100 students. And we get applications all the time. There was one week during the semester where we got like 13 applications in 1 week. So you can contribute via this link. It's just astatealumni.org/SEF. Currently, the fund is exhausted. COVID-19 and the tornado, along with other things that are still going on in students' lives, have exhausted the fund. Dr. Danfus recently, for his birthday, if some of you saw on social media, helped us raise a lot of money for the Student Emergency Fund as he asked for his birthday gifts to be contributions. So we have support. We're always asking for more, but what we have done to this day helping students would not be possible without people dedicated to service and interested in giving their time and funds to something so special. So this is our little graphic that we have where we just have a shirt to money for the student helps them graduate. And so we want students to not only benefit from continuing their education at the university, but to understand that it truly is a pack, that we all are part of a pack and that we support each other. And also, we want to instill philanthropy in them as well. One of our most recent contributions to the Student Emergency Fund was actually one of our first students who needed a Student Emergency Fund. So she received an SEF a few years ago, and just recently she's back up on her feet and she contributed $100 to the campaign. So that's something that we love to see. We just really care about the students, but seeing them give back after being in need just represents the whole cycle. So this is just another graphic that I have. And so if you're interested in supporting the SEF, you can visit this link. We have all 3 shirt designs still. They're comfort colors. They're super comfy. I don't have mine on today because I think my boyfriend stole mine because they're comfortable. So, but also feel free to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. We're very active on our social media and would love for y'all to be involved. So I will Just go back to here and see if there's any questions.
Sarah, what is the average amount, would you guess, that you give to the students and, out of your emergency fund? Just on average, just a ballpark number.
Okay, so individually, each student usually applies for $200 to $300. It varies from that amount, but they maximally can get $500. So this year, I don't have the exact number, but I think we allotted over $13,000 to the two students alone. But we have given over the past few years at least 40,000 of that, if not more, to students. And so, but normally when they apply and they're granted, we get a mean of like $300 for each student.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. It's definitely something that we want to be able to raise that number, and maybe if there is something more extreme, give them, $800 or $1,000. But with the funds that we have available now, we have a set $1, which doesn't happen, but $1 to $500.
Norm's got a question.
Is there a way that Rotary can support you other than the ways that you've mentioned as individuals? Is there any way that the club can support any of these projects that you have?
I definitely think there are many ways that Rotary can help. We're always looking for support, of course, with the fund itself, but we're always willing to come up with new events. We do have our traditions that we have done in the past, but we're such a new organization that we're always coming up with new things. So I'm sure that SPC would be willing to partner with any kind of event, or even a digital event or a fundraiser. Just shares on social media when we have a campaign helps. We have noticed that we reach a lot of people on Facebook and on different platforms like that. So I'm sure there's a bunch of different ways. But also, my advisor, I actually messaged her earlier today. She said, oh, this is a really good point. So we have been working to instill a financial literacy program for the students that receive the SEFs. And so we don't want the SEF to just be a Band-Aid, like, here, let's just fix the problem for now, but not solve it, if that makes sense. So we have a financial literacy course that we would like to start with students. So if any of you would be interested in helping run those financial literacy trainings, we could do them digitally, just teaching students, about saving for when there is a crisis, or having a savings account, just different methods like that. We want to make sure that, students are learning from this experience, not just putting a band on it.
As a follow-up on that, who at the present time handles this financial education program?
So currently we have students helping with it. Some of our students have taken, intro to accounting or intro to personal finance, things like that. So we have students currently helping with that, but it's something that this year we're really going to focus on as SPC to kind of better it and get it to be a stronger program, because it's not where the financial literacy training that we have right now is not where we need it to be. We have support from Dr. Chu on campus with some of his students, but it's definitely a process that we are currently working on with the Student Emergency Fund. Also, in the future, if any of you would be willing to participate as judges for Create It State, Create It State is our research symposium that we have on campus every year, and I know many of you are familiar with it. They're always looking for judges to look at the different departments and colleges, so that's something too, and that's in April of every year.
It's excellent.
Thank you.
Anybody have any other questions? We have a note in here that there are many, many people very proud of you, one of which is your neighbor, Stuart Shaw, who recognizes you. And
yeah.
I think I see on here that your mother is also attending this meeting. So, hey, Kathy, we're glad you're with us. In this organization especially, there are about 40 bankers that could probably help with your financial literacy stuff. I'm sure that they'd be willing to step up and do something. I see the president-elect nodding over there. So yeah, that's pretty cool. All right. Anybody else have any other questions for Sarah? Well, Sarah, we thank you for joining us. And a point of pride for me, I just have to say that Sarah has roots in Ash Flat. So, you know, us Ashflatians, we are, you know, we've got to stick together.
Is that
Yes.
a word?
It is now. Thank you, Sarah. We appreciate your participation and good luck to you. We'll help any way we can.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your interest and y'all's time today. SBC has a new president, and they have a really strong group of passionate students this next year, and they would love to get involved with the community in any way they can. And I'll give you the organization's contact information and share this presentation with y'all. So thank you again.
That's great. Thanks a lot. Okay. Did anybody else have the Pavlov response when you heard that bell ringing that maybe we were supposed to quit? I don't know what that was all about, but that was kind of fun. Let's see. We're going to next week we will have Rotary episode 9 and another wonderful program that you can share. And here's our thought for the day. Appropriate, I think, because of the topic here. Every time a child is saved from the dark side of life, every time one of us makes the effort to make a difference in a child's life, we add light and healing to our own lives. And that is none other than the world famous Oprah Winfrey. So thank you, Oprah, and thank you, Rotarians, and thank you, Sarah, and all of your legion of volunteers that do what you do. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say thank you for being here once again. We will meet again next week, same time, same channel. And until then, go forth and rotate.